Hey girl, hey! What's going on? This is part 3 of my introduction to Celia Inside. Diary of Celia Inside. DIY. Do it yourself. Definitely a philosophy that I live out in life in all types of ways every day and year round. Do it yourself is like, it's a lifestyle, it's a philosophy. It means exactly what those words say. It's just doing things yourself instead of relying on others, or like buying something or some service that you think you need, that you think will be better than something that you can produce yourself. And that's not always the case. They want you to think that that's the case, that you need to spend that money on whatever it is. But I really like the saying, if you want something done right, you got to do it yourself, because I feel like in my experience, that's how it goes. I hate group projects. But let me tell you a little bit about how that finds its way into my music. Sometimes people ask me if I went to school for music, like either for playing or singing or the mixing, like engineering, and the answer is no, not at all. That is all stuff that I picked up and learned on my own because I had to. It was out of necessity, really. Especially when I was getting started on my own, doing my first like Celia Inside songs. I was really just committed to learning as much as I could about mixing and recording too. That's something I just figured it out. And the thing with that is you need to do it yourself to some degree. You need to like get a feel for how those things work. And the only way to do that is to try and to do. That's how people learn things. Because sometimes people will be like, oh my god, your sound is so cool on Remodel, which is my first project. And they're like impressed that I was able to do it on my own, just like, you know, trial and error and using my ears and just kind of like feeling my way through it. And that really is what it's about. Like, if you talk to an audio engineer, which is, by the way, the person who would sit in the studio and like have control of all the faders and the knobs and like your voice and the track and like putting it all together and cutting it up on the computer, on the software side too. All that stuff, yeah, it's engineers do that in the studio. You got to start somewhere. I started with Audacity, which is a free program that you can use to record whatever. My mom had a microphone that she didn't need, and I started playing with it. I hooked it up to a preamp, hooked it up to a computer, and I was rolling, you know? So from there I went to GarageBand on an iPad. That's how I made Remodel, by the way. And after that, upgraded to a MacBook Pro, which has been really, really great. And then on there, I have Logic, which is how I mostly record and mix now. Why do I do it myself? I said it was out of necessity. Yeah, because back when I was starting out, I didn't know anybody who was going to mix my stuff for free. Like, I still am not trying to spend a bunch of money to go to the studio. Like, that stuff is really expensive. And just in my brain, I was like, the best way for me to do this is to be self-sufficient and to record in my own studio. And where there's a will, there's a way. Like, I made it happen. First in my parents' basement, and then in the different apartments where I've lived in New York. So there's that part of it. Like, I didn't know anybody, I just had myself. The other part is I have a vision for how I want to sound, and that comes from being a music fan, I think, for years, and really loving and like feeling music. But in addition to wanting to control my sound, I've heard so many stories about women going into the studio and engineers just like not mixing them well, you know, like just getting it wrong because they're so used to working with dudes, especially in hip hop. So I never wanted anybody else to have that control over my sound. I never wanted them like shaping me or influencing me. And I guess the third part is I work alone. I really do. I've done a lot of collaborations. Most of them turn out great, and they've all been done remotely. Like, I'm here and people in Columbus are in Columbus, and we swap files and stuff and we make it work. And we just have that kind of relationship. I think trust is really important when it comes to making music with people. And I don't know, I trust myself more than anybody. So that's a little bit about my process. I work alone. I taught myself how to mix and master. I did that by watching a lot of like YouTube videos, taking a lot of notes. I actually made myself my own like mixing guide to really hold on. You see this right here? Mixing Guide Logic Pro X10. Get familiar. I even went to like Staples and got binding materials and everything. I was like, I'm gonna make this shit official. So, got a nice little color-coded table of contents here. Talks about EQ, grouping and panning, adjusting your levels, compression, plugins for days on Logic. I got photos, screenshots. Everything is just like super organized to a T, and I got notes to myself. Like, it really is a work of art. I love this thing. I use it all the time. And yeah, it took me a long ass time to make this. It did. But it was worth it. It was so worth it. So worth the time, because after I really made that and started using that consistently, I was able to record and then mix and master my own songs at a pretty good speed. That was kind of what was holding me up for a long time. It would take me forever to get through the mixing because I was always like stuck on dumb shit that now I'm just like boom, 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 you know? And that's anything that you practice enough and like really learn and do consistently, you're gonna be able to do quicker and you're gonna get better at it all the time. So that's how I came to mix my own stuff. Moving forward, I am interested in working with engineers and mixers, well, I guess engineers, to take my sound to the next level. Because people were a little more skilled than me technically at this stuff, because I think I still have a lot of ways to go in getting like an immaculate sound, you know, like, but I'm very proud of what I've put out so far. I think it sounds pretty damn good and not that far off from your favorite rapper. Alright, that concludes the DIY video. Thank you for watching. Thank you for tuning in. I think the next series of videos are gonna really focus on my Freestyle Fridays project, which was kind of a big thing in the last year and a half for me, that really challenged me and helped me take things further, which is always what I'm trying to do. But more on that in those videos. Be sure to keep a lookout for them. Subscribe, that's a good way to make sure you don't miss it. And check out my music. Check out all of it. Everything is below. Leave me a comment, say what's up, say hey, tell me how I'm doing with these videos, because I'm trying. I'm out here trying. Alright, thank you.